So let's have a little story time about Molly on First Take. See, Molly came at me last night for the, I don't know how many times, from a fake account. And she was making fun of me. But she didn't know that I know who she is.
That's a woman with the handle Mrs. Stephen A. Smith. She's been on social media airing out Molly with a bunch of accusations. For the longest, I've been saying Stephen A. better watch out for Eminem. That's Molly and Malika at ESPN. I've been pointing out these feminists and how they will one day cry victim at ESPN to get their way. This is before the lawsuit by that former Fox hairstylist who exposed Joy Taylor's plan to do just that. Yeah, I've been warning them. But remember, the stylist said Joy was planning to make false Me Too allegations against the man she slept her way all the way to the top with if he didn't cooperate with her or if Fox ever tried to get rid of her? Before all of that even happened with Joy, I was speaking on Eminem over the years and saw how they tried to play victim or bring up a lot of feminist rhetoric just to win debates. I always knew if they would do that just to win an argument, what will they do to get their way at ESPN? I always said it didn't matter how much Stephen A. or any of these simps try to kiss up to them, they will not be safe from them. Well, things started to heat up a couple of days ago before the airing of ESPN's First Take. A woman using the handle Mrs. Stephen A. Smith, her name is Nikita, she posted this towards Molly. She said, "It's almost time for First Take. Let's see what the crew is talking about because I got time today. What's good, Molly? I tolerate no disrespect. I stand on business, not a fake account." She went on to say I was so quiet that people got too comfortable with the disrespect. I told you that you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Nikita accused Molly of coming at her on social media using a fake account. She's accusing Molly of saying derogatory things and acting like Nikita's not Stephen A.'s type, or he wasn't serious about her or didn't want her or something, and Molly was more of his type. I'm assuming because Nikita is black and Molly isn't. But Nikita says Molly continues to call Stephen A. S.A. after he repeatedly told her not to. She said, "Do y'all want to know what happened?" Molly falsely accused Stephen A. of harassment after he rejected her advances. She planted the lies on social media about them having an affair and blamed Jalen. She's talking about Jalen Rose, Molly's ex. She calls Stephen A. S.A. as a sub to mean sexual assault. Molly, Stephen A. and I told you to stop, but you wouldn't listen. ESPN, what are your thoughts? I got more where this comes from. You either correct her or I will continue to do it since you have prohibited Stephen A. from talking about us. Molly is not a victim. She is the villain playing victim after she did all the dirt. I mean, it was a lot going on. Then Nikita told Alexa to play Jolene by Beyonce as a dedication to Molly. I've never heard the full song before. You can go listen to Jolene for yourself. But with the snippet Nikita posted on social media, it sounds like Mrs. Stephen A. is insinuating Molly is trying to come between her and Stephen A. Nikita also posted this screenshot of some simp low-key trying to defend Molly, talking about she's eye candy, and Nikita responded by saying that's the problem. A show needs quality content as a priority for people to watch. She brought none. Further, if she wanted to be eye candy, she couldn't even get that part right. She just kept going in on Molly. She wasn't letting up. Nikita also claims that ESPN is trying to sabotage Stephen A. She's saying the same executive who's beefing with Pat McAfee is also trying to sabotage Stephen A. behind the scenes.
Now, there are some people actively trying to sabotage us from within ESPN.
Funny.
More specifically, I believe Norby Williamson is the guy who is attempting to sabotage our program. I'm not 100% sure. That is just seemingly the only human that has information, and then somehow that information gets leaked and it's wrong, and then it sets a narrative of what our show is. And then are we just going to combat that from a rat every single time? I don't know. But like, somebody tried to get ahead of our actual ratings release with wrong numbers 12 hours beforehand. That's a sabotage attempt. And it's been happening basically this entire season from some people who didn't necessarily love the old edition of the Pat McAfee show to the ESPN family.
Sure.
There's a lot of those. We've heard them anonymously quoted in the Washington Post, in the New York Post, in the New York Times, in the LA Times, in Wall Street Journal. And they're never like, yeah, love the show. This is awesome. It's always like little things to try to tear us down. So even with the enemy within our own camp, somebody that I don't like that guy. That guy left me in his office for 45 minutes, no-showed me in 2018. So this guy has had zero respect for me. And in return, same thing back to him for a long time. So even with that taking place in potential PR, like we're still growing somehow. Yep. So we're very thankful.
She said, I told y'all I will be back to talk about dirty ESPN executives. I know an army of paid trolls is trying to discredit me, but listen to Pat McAfee tell you the same thing. You will not win against me and Stephen A. God has given us a victory. Every person who tried to sabotage us will be exposed and will pay for their evil deeds. God will restore me, Stephen A, and others they have harmed. According to Nikita, Stephen A is not only being sabotaged by some executives, but she claims Molly is allegedly in cahoots with them. Take a look.
Hey y'all, you ready for a little story time? You know that kid in school who's always like really quiet, and there's a bully that keeps on picking on him until everybody finally finds out that kid got them hands? I'm that kid that got them hands. So let's have a little story time about Molly on First Take. See, Molly came at me last night for the I don't know how many times from a fake account. And she was making fun of me. But she didn't know that I know who she is. And so I told her, like Stephen told her, to stop calling him SA. But she wouldn't listen. And I told her not to do it again or I was going to air her out. And so she decided to get on First Take today to do it. So let me tell you a little bit about Molly and why she calls Stephen SA. Molly actually falsely accused Stephen of sexual harassment. This was after he rejected her advances because I guess she thought that he didn't really love me. Anyway, so let's go back about Molly. See, Molly was the one who actually planted the story about her and Stephen having an affair. When Stephen wanted to address it, his bosses told him not to. Molly blamed that on Jalen, her ex-husband, but it was really Molly. Molly was jealous because, see, Jalen told Molly not to move to Connecticut, but she didn't listen, and then she got mad at the results. So then she decided to go after Stephen A after she saw him coming up even more. Well, baby, she didn't know that Stephen A is all about Nikita. So anyway, she plants this story and she thought it was going to faze me, but it didn't, because the one thing I know about my man, he likes all the assets and she ain't got none. Anyway, so she let it play out. And so when it didn't come, I told Stephen at that moment, I said, you should nip this in the bud because she is going to claim you harassed her. And he said, no, my bosses told me not to. And there's another story about those bosses that actually are trying to sabotage Stephen A at ESPN, but I'll talk about that later. So today, Molly was the one who did it. She planted the story. She falsely accused Stephen. And apparently she didn't think I was about this life, but baby, I'm about this life. See, Stephen should have told you, not only am I a banking expert, I'm an IT expert. And on top of that, I was the EEO director at the FDIC. Now, you better come again before you come correct, before you come at me. Because I'd rather be growing my baby. But baby, I'll stop and take care of you.
Nikita came back with more accusations, claiming Molly wanted more money. She's trying to negotiate a new contract. According to Nikita, Molly is getting paid $400,000 per year, and she's upset because in her mind, she believes she should be equal to Stephen A. Smith. Nikita wrote this to Molly. She said, I didn't forget about you, girl. Class is in session. Your days are numbered, figuratively and literally. And then she posted this.
Molly girl, hey, you thought I forgot about you? Oh, I didn't. I just had things to do. Let me put my glasses on because class is in session. You see, when people don't think water is wet, you got to take them to the ocean. So let's have part 2 about Molly. See, the reason that Molly decided to go and make these false accusations against Stephen A is simply because she wanted money. Molly is in contract negotiations, and she only makes $400,000 a year. And I said only because me, somebody y'all don't even know, I made that in the federal government. But anyway, Molly wants to make Stephen A money when she doesn't have Stephen A talent. And so you can't do that. See, Molly is dry. She lacks really any talent and personality to be on television. You haven't seen her across multiple platforms because nobody wants her. She doesn't resonate with an audience. That's simply it. So if you want Stephen A money, you need to have Stephen A talent. Okay? Second thing is, Molly had help with Norby because Norby is that type of manager. You know, that manager who hates to see you succeed more than them and to make more money more than them. He's that person. And so they found a way that they thought they could hold Stephen A down. That's what's happened. So, since Norby has been hating for a long time on talent that makes more than him, he's going to reap what he sows. So let me tell you what's going to happen with Molly and ESPN because of Norby. Molly will not be working on First Take next season. As a matter of fact, she won't be working at ESPN. Molly is going to get sick again. Her illness is going to come back, and it's going to stay. Further, ESPN profits and ratings will continue to decline until Norby Williams is moved out of that organization. Norby is a cancer, and what God will not tolerate is people being hurt by bad managers. That is what's going to happen. And if ESPN doesn't remove Norby, what's further going to happen is ESPN will fail to exist in the future. And Fox will take over as the nation's leader and as it relates to sports. Now, let me know if you're still feeling froggy and you want some more of these facts. You better ask somebody about me, because this is so y'all make sure y'all record it so when it happens that you know you can't play with me.
It's a whole lot going on. Nikita claims she's pregnant by Stephen A. And honestly, Stephen A is very private about his relationships and his baby mamas. So if this is all true, Stephen A will have to be in cahoots with this woman too, because there's no way all this will be coming out. Unless that's part of his plan too. Who knows? Maybe Stephen A is trying to get ahead of any allegations that could be made by Molly, using his girlfriend to expose Molly first because he couldn't do it himself. I don't know, it's just a lot of strange things happening. But this would also explain why Stephen A is going so hard lately to find a new niche, working on different platforms. He's been pushing his own podcast, and then he's been hanging out over there with Chris Cuomo, Bill O'Reilly, and a bunch of conservatives all of a sudden. It's like he's prepping for something to happen, you know, just in case. We're talking about a man who worshiped ESPN and would only dream about making his Disney bosses happy with him. So who knows what's really going on over there? I do know this though, playing super simp is never a good look. I knew sucking up and bending the knee to these people like Eminem in the long run won't work in his favor. And one day those snakes will turn around and bite you too. It's all a silly game they're playing over there for power. So if Nikita's claims are true, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, if Molly allegedly had plans to also cry Me Too against Stephen A, or if she's done it already, then that would explain Stephen A sticking his head out for Joy Taylor at Fox and defending Skip Bayless when Skip won't even return his phone calls. He could be defending these folks for his own benefit somehow, because if you think FS1 is the only sports media out here with the Players Club in The Office, then you're crazy. ESPN also has a long history of these allegations too. This is why they're all low-key defending each other. But we know if this had been a guy in the NFL or NBA, they will still be talking about the allegations until he's kicked off the team. But I digress. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Tell me what you think about this mess below. Special thank you to Elmer. I appreciate you, Elmer, for all of your support, helping these videos get out. You can show your support as well. The link to PayPal is below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like and share.